lovely people of God. Today is Doreen's Gospel Wednesday, and I'll be sharing with you an exciting topic titled Worship. Worship is really essential to the Christian faith and life. Worship is the act of ascribing to the ultimate worth and honor to God, recognizing His sovereignty, His holiness, and love. Worship is mostly done by an attitude of reverence, devotion, and submission that is expressed through actions such as singing, praying, giving, and obedience to God. Worship comes from an Hebrew word called shahar, which means lying prostrate or bowing down, showing reference to God, being it physically or spiritually. And it also comes from a Greek word known as proskonia, which also means to bow down or to kiss the hand, to give reference to a deity. God is the ultimate deity. We are going to look at some scriptures on how our predecessors in faith worship God. So now we'll be taking our scriptures from Psalms chapter 95, verse 6 to 7, which says, "Come, let us bow down and worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker, for He is our God, and we are the people of His pasture. The flocks are under His care." When we also look at 1 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 29, it says, "Ascribe to the Lord the glory due His name. Bring an offering and come before Him. Worship the Lord in the splendor of His holiness." When we also look at John chapter 4, verse 23 to 24, it says, "Yet a time is coming and has now come when the true worshippers will worship the Father in the Spirit and in truth, for they are the kind of worshippers the Father seeks. God is Spirit, and His worshippers must worship in the Spirit and in truth." When we also look at Revelation chapter 4, verse 10 to 11, says that the 24 elders fall down before Him who sits on the throne and worship Him who lives forever and ever. They lay down crowns before the throne and say, "You are worthy, our Lord and God, to receive glory and honor and power, for You created all things, and by Your will they were created and have their being." Finally, when we look at Romans chapter 12, verse 1, it says that, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice and holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship." Looking at all these scriptures, it shows how our predecessors in faith worshiped God. So now let's look at some scenarios where some people worship God. When we look at Abraham was willing to sacrifice his son Isaac to worship God. When we look at Job, in Job 120, he was, even in his suffering, he was willing to do everything to worship God and give reference to his creator. When we look at Mary of Bethany, he was willing to do everything to anoint Jesus with that expensive perfume. Such submission and worship. When we look at Paul and Silas, even in the prison, they were singing and praising and worshiping God. And as they were doing that, there was a miraculous jailbreak. And now when we look at David, he sang and praised God at all times. What are the importance of worshiping as a believer? Worship acknowledges the sovereignty of God. Worship shows that God is the creator and sustainer of our life, and therefore we need to give Him the ultimate reverence He deserves. Worship brings intimacy between us and God. As we worship God in spirit and in truth, it brings us and draws us closer to God, to be able to know what He has in mind for us. Worship transforms our life. As we worship God, it transforms us from the negative things in our life that we want to change, and transforms us to a better life for ourselves. Also, worshiping God helps us to witness to others. As we worship God, we seek to witness to others to also come and worship God and benefit from what God is doing in our lives. This morning, I will urge each and everyone to give God the ultimate reverence, devotion, and submission He deserves in worshiping Him. And as we worship Him in truth and in spirit, He is going to deliver us from everything that we are going through. Know that worship is not just a ritual, but an integral part of us, a believer and as a Christian. Stay blessed and have a nice day. Bye.